the Prime Minister Andrew Holness budget presentation. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.
Minister of Defense, Minister of the Minister of Defense and Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, honorable members, senators, and former members seated in the well, excellence in the diplomatic corps. Jamaica, I thank the Almighty God for sparing us to see another day. We rejoice and we are glad in it. We give thanks for His countless blessings in our lives, individually and on Jamaica as a collective. I want to thank my family for their love. And support every time. In particular, Juliet. An independent woman. A self-made woman who has achieved all that she has on her own effort, in her own right. Like my mother, who is here as well. They know struggle. Yes. They know sacrifice. Yes. They know hard work. Yes. And they know achievement. Yes. I want to thank my colleagues in Cabinet, our parliamentary caucus, our party members, and especially the people of West Central St. Andrew for their steadfast and loyal support. I want to thank my personal staff and advisors for their tireless work. I want to thank the hard-working public sector workers. I want to make special mention of our board members who give voluntary service to increases in the
We'll take some highlights from this presentation.
past, almost a year or two later, there is a financial crisis. We have to go back into wage freeze. Let's do it in a sustainable way. That is what we want. Let's do it in a sustainable way. So having increased the level of salary, we must now protect this new level of salary from inflation. While our inflation targeting policy is working, the greatest protection against inflation is increased productivity, which translates into greater output, greater growth, greater revenues, which can sustain higher wages, which lead to greater productivity. Every worker, on a personal level, should embrace the virtuous cycle of productivity and see increasing productivity as being in their own best interest to protect the value of their current income and secure future increase. Jamaica is rapidly building out our rules-based institutions. This has created a complex web of laws, regulations, policies, circulars, and guidelines which can slow down, if not paralyze, the government. You know, Madam Speaker, several years ago, when I used to visit the lunchroom downstairs, a member from that side, who was then a minister, said this very thing to me. I have never forgotten it. I have written it down and I've used it several times. In effect, these are not my words. These are words that were sent to me by a member, a former member, not in the House anymore, a former member on that side. Because there may be the belief that there is some political bias in the public sector. The issues for the public sector are structural. They are structural issues. And when we seek to correct them, you can't go with a political lens. We have to look at the real root causes of the problem, because the problem affects whoever is the government. Because I have heard that side complain as well about the structure of the public service. So we complain about it, but we are the ones with the authority to do something about it. So if we have the authority, let's use it. And that is what I am doing. You can't quarrel with me that I'm not doing anything. You can quarrel about what I'm doing, but you can be sure that something is going to be done. There have been numerous calls from MPs on both sides, from the private sector, from boards and management of MDAs, to reform the system and processes. The Minister of Finance and the Public Service outlined some changes to the procurement process, streamlining of the existing public investment appraisal process to increase speed and efficiency while preserving accountability and probity will also be necessary. The tortuous and lengthy process to repair the Troy Bridge makes the case for the urgent need for review and reform. The bridge collapsed in August 2021 during the passage of Tropical Storm Grace. The bridge, which was built in 1869, served residents of Trelawney, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth, including students of the nearby Troy High and Troy Primary School. The bridge represents critical infrastructure for the residents, and there is unanimity that the bridge must be replaced. Under the current public investment management guidelines, however, the project is required to go through a full public investment appraisal process. This is even before we get to procurement. This has resulted in significant delays in implementations. However, today, I can finally announce that a contract has been awarded and work will begin early in this first quarter of the coming financial year.
This is the Troy Bridge. That's Troy Bridge.
Madam Speaker, this administration is pursuing productivity gains through digital transformation of government services. Framework is fit
That's Troy Bridge.
for purpose to deal with the environmental and climatic challenges we face while also creating an enabling investment environment. Madam Speaker, planning, which facilitates orderly development, is a critical pillar to sound environmental management. Last year, you'll recall that we confirmed the Kingston and St. Andrew Pedro Keys Development Order. We are actively working to complete the parish development orders for St. Thomas, St. Elizabeth, Hanover, and St. James. I'm happy to report the promulgation of the Portmore confirmed development order. I'm also happy to report that NEPA has completed the master plans for Constant Spring, Halfway Tree, and Negril. Madam Speaker, I want to say a few words on beach access. Coming to that. I'm pleased to report that the beach access and management policy is complete and will be tabled at the next sitting of the House. The policy seeks to ensure Jamaica's beaches are preserved and sustainably managed to present and sustainably managed for present and future generations. And the provision, Madam Speaker, is made for Jamaicans to be able to access their beaches. Madam Speaker, the government will be upgrading a number of beaches across the island for public access. You know, Madam Speaker, I've listened very carefully to the debate around beach access. I've had to do it because the policy falls under the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. And we have spent a lot of time going through the policy because the issues are fundamental. We are dealing with the rights of the people. We are dealing with people's prescriptive rights. We are dealing with property rights. We are dealing with people's right to enjoy their environment. And we have to go through all of them carefully. But one thing must be sure. We must be certain, and we must be unequivocal. Jamaicans are entitled to access their beaches. Absolutely. But one thing we know, Madam Speaker, there is one thing to speak about access. There is another thing, Madam Speaker, to actually do it. Enable access. So we believe everybody must have access, but we go a step further. Madam Speaker, I am happy to announce that the government will be upgrading a number of beaches across the island for public access. The existing Fantasy Beach Park in Priory St. Anne will be developed into a parish beach park, similar to the Harmony Park in Montego Bay. The government will be upgrading another 9 free community beaches this year. Beyond 2024-2025 budget year, we will develop the Boston Beach Park in Portland. And we will do a major beach park in Negril. So others talk about beach access. We actually give people beach that they can access. Yeah, they give you the words, we give you the beach. And we have never sold a beach.
Where is Cornwall Beach?
Madam Speaker, Jamaica is on the front line of the changing climate and shifting weather patterns. We have already seen the impacts of coastal communities with rising sea levels. Ministry of Education, $200 million to provide tuition support for at least 1,000 students who show that they are in good academic standing with their tertiary institution, but are in need of financial care for all people. This support will be administered through the Ministry of Education in conjunction with the CDF, where each constituency will be allocated approximately $3 million, and each beneficiary can get a maximum grant of $200,000. Madam Speaker, I now turn our focus on Heart Trust NSDA. The Heart Trust was conceptualized by the Most Honorable Edward Siaga in 1982 with the mission to reduce unemployment and create a dynamic and skilled labor force in Jamaica. Even though unemployment today is at a record low of 4.2%, the mission remains as relevant today as it was in 1982. But the first time in our independent history, we face a new challenge. On the one hand, we have a myriad of business leaders speaking to the shortage of labor in growing sectors of the economy. On the other hand, we have too many persons across the length and breadth of Jamaica who are not sufficiently engaged in meaningful work. For the first time in our independent history, we can say to every Jamaican youth, if you are willing to work and acquire a skill, there is a job for you. When we say every youth is a star, that is not a pipe dream in Jamaica today. It can truly be achieved. The Heart Trust has a pivotal role to play in this. Madam Speaker, we are revitalizing and re-energizing Heart, and we are putting the heart back in Heart. Madam Speaker, last year I announced the Learning and Investment for Transformation LIFT program designed to provide secondary school leavers with structured assimilation into the workplace. I'm pleased to report that 506 participants from the first cycle of the program have been placed in public and private sector organizations across. They are currently developing on-the-job skills while earning a monthly income of $85,000 with $15,000 reserved as compulsory saving that will be released at the end of year 1 of job placement. The trainees under the LIFT program come with level of secondary level certification, but they lack work experience. The LIFT program is designed to improve their work readiness and prepare them for high-functioning jobs. And an important component of the LIFT program is that the enrollees are assisted with social mobility documents. They will get their TRN, their passports, their NIS, and bank accounts will be open for them, and they get their driver's license. Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to acknowledge one of our LIFT students in the gallery. As you know, the LIFT participants are taken from all 63 constituencies, and the program was oversubscribed. With us today is Akila Simpson, who is from my constituency. I don't know if any other LIFT student is here. I gather that our LIFT student is from the constituency of the leader of the opposition. We're very grateful. Yes, you would have submitted it. Yes, yes. It's very important, and I just depart from my script here just for a minute, because there's usually great criticism when benefits are directed through MPs. I find, however, that when it is done in conjunction with an entity and with the CDF, that the geographic spread of the benefit is much better. I don't want to in any way suggest that MPs can replace the central government in the distribution of welfare, but there are some projects where the MPs have a much better sense of what the need is. And so we have strategically done it in that way. And I find that sometimes the MPs are also very good motivators, because the entities oftentimes need somebody to intervene when there is a problem. So sometimes someone may apply for a benefit, they get the benefit, but then they stop coming. Who do you call to get them to come back? It's usually good when your member of parliament can get in touch and say, no man, I got So, Madam Speaker, Akila, I'm certain, is now learning to drive. And she will get her driver's license. The program has been a success, and we are getting ready for another intake under the program. We empower our youth and let them know you can do it. You can do it.
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
Alric is also here from the leader of the opposition's constituency. Alric, I'm certain you're also learning to drive. Very good.
The LIFT program, that's a good program.
And so I just wanted to, I want to thank Alric and Akila for coming to the presentation today. Sometimes when we announce these programs, the public listening can't identify with it. They think it's just an announcement, it's not real. But these programs are real. These are real people. So we're very happy that you have come to show the public that yes, these are real people. When I say 506, there are 506 of Alric and Akila who are here. Madam Speaker, it is important to note that more than 120,000 trainees have enrolled in HART since the removal of fees. Using Statin's October 2023 figures, our labor force stands at 1,377,600 out of a working age population of 14 years or older of 2.1 million. This gives a relatively large labor force participation rate of 65%. It's a very important figure because the labor participation rate is the percentage of the working age, well, the percentage of the labor force relative to the working age population. So 65% of our working age population is in the labor force. The last figures I looked at for a comparative economy like Trinidad was about 60%. United States, maybe a little bit lower, maybe at about 60, 62, 63%. But our labor participation rate is actually very high and is inching up. Madam Speaker, there are 724,600 persons. And even though these numbers seem fairly precise, the methodology yields these numbers, but they are estimates. There are 724,600 persons, 14 years and older, who are not in the labor force. Meaning, these are persons who are registered in schools or training institutions, retired and elderly persons, persons taking care of their households and families, and persons who, for other reasons, are not available for work, such as persons who are incarcerated or disabled, and persons who have not made themselves available, who say, I am not going to work. It should be noted that 95.8% of the labor force, or 1.32 million persons, are employed. Think about it. 95.8% of everyone who is able, capable, and seeking a job is in a job. If you look at it from that perspective, you begin to understand the problem that the country faces. If the economy grows and job opportunities open up, where are we going to get the people from? So remember now, we have 724,000 persons outside the labor force. We have 4.2% who are unemployed, which represents 57,300 persons unemployed. Now, the member from St. Andrew South said, we must never contemplate importation of labor. Yeah, you said that, and I agree with you. I think we should do everything in our power right now to get all our youngsters, everyone who is available. We must get all of them, every one of them. We must get them into our Madam Speaker, in any economy, there is always a base level of unemployment due to structural changes in the economy. Businesses go out of operations, particular skills become obsolete, and workers are out of job while they retool, and new businesses come into operation. But there is also frictional unemployment, where the worker voluntarily changes, and there is a lag between leaving one job and finding another. In addition to ensuring that labor is trained and constantly upskilled in relevant areas aligned to the market demand, in this era of virtual full employment, so that is where we are now. We don't say it, but technically that's where we are. Full employment. Full. Oh, obviously they may not have skills and they don't have experience, and they may not have a work-ready attitude. And so we're going to target hard into that area. So this year, the Heart NSTA Trust will introduce the Community Action for Rewarding Engagement initiative called, what does that spell? That's the CARE.
CARE, Community Action for Rewarding Engagement, ages 14 to 24 years old.
Initiative to reach every young man and woman who is not working and is not enrolled in a training program. Heart will be proactive in finding you and bringing you to the well of training.
That's a good one.
If our economy is to grow, we need every able-bodied man and woman who is able and capable of working to join the labor force. The CARE initiative will be activated in all 63 constituencies. Each member of parliament will be asked to identify 30 young persons from their constituency using predetermined selection parameters set by the program. A specialized team in Heart will go to their houses or meet them on the corner if necessary to engage with them and enroll them into the program that will enhance their employability. Madam Speaker, as I travel across Jamaica and I speak to our young people, they tell me that making Heart free of tuition is great, but some of them struggle to find money for transportation and to buy lunch. They say, Prime Minister, I want to come and do the training, but I don't have the bus fare. I want to get a skill, but I won't be able to buy lunch when I go to the training center. This is the dilemma. And this is why we have decided that every student enrolled in Heart under the new CARE initiative will receive a monthly transportation stipend of $15,000 to offset transportation costs to the Heart institutions in which they will be enrolled. The grant will be tied to their attendance, obviously, and we will go even further. All trainees under the CARE program will receive an additional stipend of $13,000 per week for the duration of the training. For some persons who will read through this program, extensive training may not be required. A lot of them that I have met, they tell me they have certificates. They are a welder, they are this, they are that. But you realize that in speaking to them, what may have been the challenge? Because they tell you, they go to interviews, there might be the challenge of the work ethic, the challenge of the interpersonal skills, the work readiness, and the workplace ethic skills. Those are things that we may have to work on. So the program may not necessarily have to cater to intensive training, but more work readiness skills. And if that is the case, it will also be done quite easily. So this will do job placement, mentorship, and career guidance where necessary. We recognize the urgent nature of the problem of shortage of skilled labor. I would go as far to say that it persons to work in a shorter time frame. Madam Speaker, and this is another partnership that we are pursuing. Madam Speaker, for investments and location of high productivity jobs. Labor will drive growth and create a virtuous cycle of productivity and prosperity. Labor will drive growth and create a virtuous cycle of productivity and prosperity. Madam Speaker, I now turn marketing activities, further capacity building, and other forms of technical support. Madam Speaker, the public will be able to go on this central registry and they will see who is responsible for the road. Because
So, if the National Housing Trust will revise its home improvement loan policy to allow all contributors to access home improvement loans for up to 3.5 million after 10 years. Currently, non-profit sector workers would have to wait 15 years to access the loan. Another program, the Hope program for Children Trust Fund. The government will establish the Jamaica 60 Hope Opportunity, Prosperity and Empowerment for Children Trust Fund, which will provide each child with a long-term savings account funded through annual contributions from the government. He says any Jamaican child born on or after Jamaica's 60th anniversary of independence, that was August 6, 2022, who is a part of a part household or a ward of the state will be edible for the program. So what they're saying, if you were born August 6, after August 6, 2022, you're a part of PATH, that's a PATH program, or a ward of the state, you will be edible for this program. So it's for children trust fund. It's a saving account funded through annual contributions from the government. The minimum wage. The Prime Minister has announced that the annual minimum wage is to be increased from 13,000 to 15,000 for a 40-hour work week. The minimum wage for industrial security guard is to move from $14,000 to $15,000 per week, effective June 1. But what can $15,000 do? What can $15,000 do? 15,000 can't even buy grocery for a week. Can do nothing. So the first time in the history of independent, every Jamaica youth, if you're willing to work and acquire a skill, there's a job for you. When you say every youth is a star, this is not a pipe dream in today's Jamaica. It is an achievable reality. And the National Housing Trust will introduce a solar panel home grant, which will include the installation of solar panel systems on the house of public sector pensioners at a maximum of 1.5 million. The National Housing Trust will expand its sponsorship program to provide up to 10 tertiary students with tuition to a maximum of 1 million per annum who are pursuing careers in civil engineer, construction management, construction technology, architecture, urban planning, building technology, and related fields. Not bad. Okay, Jamaica will enter a phase of ban on some plastic materials on June 1 of this year. The government will be upgrading work on another 9 free community beaches. Okay, the multi. So those are some highlights from the budget debate by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, like, comment. Thank you.